Hi, everybody. I'm Dror Gurevich, CEO of the Lost Network Foundation, and I have with me today Jean-Marc Laouchez, Korn Ferry Institute President at Korn Ferry, global leader in organizational consulting, helping the largest corporations in the world to hire the right people and advise them on how to reward, develop, and motivate their workforce. And we are here to talk about Korn Ferry, Lost Network, and all things blockchain for HR. So Jean-Marc, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joe, for the opportunity.
Yeah. Why don't you start with presenting yourself and how did you end up in the talent management space? I know you had a long career before Korn Ferry.
You mean that I'm an old guy?
Of all places, how did you end up in human capital?
No. I mean, I've been a banker. I worked in investment banking. I worked at McKinsey for a number of years. But I discovered that if you don't get the human dimension right, whatever beautiful strategy or technology you have, you may not capture the full value of what you are trying to build. So I went deep into culture elements and then governance and organizational transformation and incentives, and try to understand what motivates people to bring the best of who they are at work and what they do. And I think it's interesting. So my role at Korn Ferry is leading the Korn Ferry Institute, where we do research on what's next. What are the new trends? What is going to impact the world of leadership, of talent, of work in the future? And when you came, I don't know exactly, probably 2 years ago, with this idea of a blockchain for talent and data sovereignty, this is interesting. And then we have been on the journey ever since, and trying to build a proposition that makes sense to innovate, to see what's new, what is going to meet people's needs and organizational needs in an effective way, so that they can execute their strategy while helping people be the best they can be.
Yeah. So for our audience, for the listeners, could you describe Korn Ferry in a few sentences, just the type of solution you provide, prominent customers, the number of lives you're touching, just to understand the impact you have on the entire industry?
Yeah, so we are a management consulting firm centered around people. We say that we want to help people change their lives, and we are at the intersection of strategy and organization. What we do, we have a number of practices. We are well known for being probably the largest executive search company in the world. We are probably also one of the largest firms for leadership development and executive compensation. But we also work with what we call the vital many, therefore the rest of the organization. We are one of the largest companies for RPO, which is a project of recruitment at scale. We do professional development and organizational design. A core of what we do, and it's probably one of the reasons we like Velocity so much, is everything that we provide is based on science. Therefore, we do assessment. We probably assess around 500,000 people every year for their development, or to know if they are ready for their get into a position in part of our talent acquisition process. So we base what we do on deep research, psychometrics, sociology, try to understand really using science. Now we are moving to neuroscience to really make sure that when an organization or an individual make a decision about people, about themselves or their workforce, it is based on the state-of-the-art knowledge available. And it's probably one of the hook with Velocity is if we can get more trustworthy information about people, we will make better decisions fundamentally. And this is all we are about, helping people make better decisions for performance, for fulfillment, for realization, individually and collectively.
So obviously, I mean, you didn't wait for us to hear about blockchain, right? But what made you, as an organization, to join other HCM and education titans as founding members of the Velocity Network? Why the collaborative effort? Why the industry approach? As one of the largest customers, as one of the largest organizations in the world, you could probably make an impact on yourselves, right?
So we are increasingly a technology company, but our core business is not technology. We add value on top of the technology, and we partner with all the big technology players in that field, so that their technology, together with what we call our intelligence or our insights, provide value. What we liked about Velocity, and it's interesting because you're right, we were starting other conversations before we're talking to you, very early stages, but what we liked about your approach is that the concept of having an open system, open source. We know that we felt, and we confirmed over time, that Velocity is a systemic solution. It's not a solution for one company, because it is addressing a systemic issue. So if one company tries to address a systemic issue, the probability of success is very limited. And the systemic issue being providing trust-based information to individuals and to organizations to make better decisions. The trust comes from the fact that the information is validated by a network of players that validate that information. If you don't have the network, you don't have that validation in a systemic way. Therefore, Velocity comes, and you guys dreamt it, and I think it's a great idea, with an open source and open solution where people can come with whatever they have to bring, people, individuals, and organizations such as ours, and get into the network, get into the platform, and contribute and get return out of it without having to feel as, oh, I have to support the whole system by myself. So we see that there is a trend of having more and more platform-based solution business model. Velocity provides the underlying infrastructure for such solutions in an open way, where we can influence and shape and contribute and make sure that our clients and individual business clients benefit from that open system.
Yeah, I would say that essentially it's an interoperability challenge, right?
Yes.
And you cannot solve interoperability sitting by yourself in a room.
No.
You have to align and build infrastructure that will be open, ubiquitous, and serve the entire industry. So yes, I totally agree.
There is another reason we joined Velocity. And actually probably even for the first reason, the dimension of interoperability and the open source was the second one. The first one is underlying trends of data sovereignty. Therefore, we see, and because we deal with so much data from our clients on assessment, on pay, on engagement, in particular on development, we have a lot of data, proprietary data that, of course, and this data is associated to an organization that typically contract our services, but also associated to individuals. And there is a trend so that those individuals are more and more concerned about, one, who owns the data, second, what is being done with the data, third, how the data is being shared, fourth, how the data is being monetized. And a Velocity open source, open system based on the trust-based concept such as blockchain, where we can define protocols, schemas, standards that are valuable for individuals as well as valuable for organizations, is a way to somehow anticipate that trend and be ready for it, while still contributing to continue to have the value, the deep value of all those data sets that I just talked about.
Let's focus for a moment on Korn Ferry. What benefits your customers will be able to see from your participation in the Velocity Network? If you can articulate clear value proposition that is unique to Korn Ferry.
I don't know if it is unique to Korn Ferry, but I'm sure that others will have also similar value proposition. So, as I said earlier, working on trust-based data is resonate with our focus on science and making sure that we are dealing with human beings, who to recruit, who to promote, how much to pay, what bonuses, who is all those informations, those decisions. The more they are based on trust-based data and analytics, the better the decision is made, the better is the decision which is made for the individual, for the organization. So this is number one value. Second value, as we talk often, Velocity is operating at what you call the utility layer. Therefore, is ensuring there are credentials that can be trusted, that are controlled by individual in their e-wallet, and then that they share according to their needs. On top of that utility layer, we have, all the players have the capacity to add additional value. Therefore, to create apps or to create solutions that say to an individual or to an organization, based on this trust-based data that we have, what can you do with it? To get insights. So let's take a specific example. Our executive search practice works over time, sometimes over decades, with individuals to help them grow their career and maybe one day become a CEO, a board member of a large organization. They, of course, have plenty of experiences accumulated, courses, assessment, etc. over time. Most of it, a lot of it is lost over time. Therefore, they do a course on coding, or they expand about their knowledge of Chinese culture and business environment. A lot of that is never going to be captured in a traditional one-page resume or even a 5-page resume that sometimes we see. Still, that information is valuable. If we are able to take that information, link to their assessment, link to their purpose and what is important for them, and then provide value in, say, given who you are and everything you've done, you have opportunities. You may have gaps, you may have learning journeys that you can engage in. This might be your next job. Therefore, we help people anticipate, because we have trust-based information, what will be best for them in order to maximize what they want to maximize. Might be economic value, might be size of responsibility, might be fulfillment as a human being, whatever. The more information that we can trust, that will be accessible through such a platform, will be much better. Now, if we take the organization perspective, which looked at the individual, organizations have a number of employees. If we can capture with them, once again, trust-based information, say, oh, I mean, actually, recently we did some analytics on a very well-known technology firm, looking at all their main leaders, and we have assessment on them, and we have their profile and demographics. We were able to get insights that were explaining where they were having success and where they were not having so much success, just looking at the profile of their leaders. If we were having a much richer set of information than such as the one that Velocity is promising to have, we could have even better insights, and therefore be able to say to an organization, your next wave of leaders, this is the type of profile which is missing. Or this pool of leadership that you have today, this is what you should be with them so that you become more innovative as you wish to be more innovative in the future, and see what can be done. So we could add intelligence on top of the data, because the data is rich, is comprehensive, is expensive, covers the whole population, and we can compare it with other benchmarks in the marketplace.
And it's machine readable.
Sorry?
And it's machine readable.
Yes, exactly.
So the schemas are all shared across the entire network, and the machines can understand the data because the shared syntax of the data and semantics of the data, which is amazing, I think, Lear. So moving to you personally, you're personally highly involved in the activities. You're a board member, and you're highly involved in much of the activities within the leadership of the Velocity Network Foundation. What is your personal take? What is your personal experience focusing not on Korn Ferry, but rather on you personally and the journey that we've made together in the last couple of years?
So I think there are, I would say, I mean, the learning from me is first is learning overall. I'm discovering. I'm not a technology person, but as I said, I come from strategy and organizational transformation. I'm learning a few things. One is the power of a consortium. Therefore, when you put together companies like SAP, Oracle, Randstad, Cornerstone, Aon, and others, and Korn Ferry, the sharing of perspective, the way we react to an issue, the way we look at the timeline, and the importance of technology or clients is absolutely fascinating to see what we can learn and reinforce each other in terms of creating solutions that make sense for the market. The second is, as you know, I went pretty deep into the economics of velocity. Therefore, the network effect is fundamentally creating a new economy. Think about the macroeconomy of a country, and this will be a global one. Therefore, there is a logic underlying it, which is unique to creating an economy, which is different type of economics of an individual company. So how to understand the macroeconomy and how does it relate to the microeconomy of an organization? How does it relate to the sub-microeconomy of the wallet of an individual? So I believe that I was able, and you, of course, we worked together on that, in building that thread of value from the most individual organization and economy in a way that makes sense to me. So I understand that I learned that, and I'm in the process, of course, of socializing that knowledge with Velocity as well as internally with Korn Ferry.
So we're coming to the end here, and if you would have, just one single message to the labor market stakeholders in this context, what would that be?
A single message. I mean, I would. There is this new economy. I mean, and all clients talk about digital transformation, is about more and more empowerment of the individuals. We see it on social issues, diversity, inclusion, climate change, technology versus humanity. So there are a number of very serious questions that really, while in the past, government and then organization had all the power, individuals are getting more and more power. What Velocity is providing, and maybe other similar solutions in the marketplace, is a sound, science-based, technology-based capacity to empower individuals while aligning this power with the objective and the purposes of organizations and societies. So embracing such solution and being probably one of the first mover is fundamentally going with a sense of history and really connecting with the value. Is harnessing the power of technology at the service of human beings. And I think this is what you guys are building and we are trying to build together.
That's great. One of the things that we try to do is put people back in control over their most precious data, right?
Yes,
themselves. Their career credentials.
Yes.
Well, this is the end of our conversation, and thank you so much, Jean-Marc. This has been super interesting, and thank you for your insights. I really enjoyed it, and we'll probably be talking very soon. Thank you, people, for listening. For more content and talks with thought leaders like Jean-Marc, fellow Velocity Network Foundation on social media, I've been Dror Gurevich. Peace out.